I think in our community, it's been a tradition or culture, whatever you want to call it, to spank first. And I think we do need to develop other ways of correcting behavior, but I'm not opposed to spanking either. But I do think it should be, like Inaz said, a natural progression. Like that doesn't need to be the first thing that we do. The other thing is that spanking doesn't always work for all kids. So that's another reason why you need to find other forms of discipline. And I was one of those children that spanking didn't work for me. You know, it may have when I was younger, but as I got older into my teens, I'm eating that. I'm gonna take it. I'd rather have the spanking because that's gonna be overdone with and I could go on about my business versus having a punishment. I was a person that I love going outside. Even to this day, like my husband called it, I'd be staying in the streets, but I don't be doing that. I'd be at shopping. But I just don't like being in the house. I like being out and about. So spank me. Yes, go ahead and spank me. So then that's my punishment. Then I can go and do what I want to do after that. I could still, later on go outside or whatever. But once I'll say my dad more so, realized my form was to punish me by making me stay inside as opposed to the spanking not working anymore. That's when he ended up changing up his discipline style because the making me stay inside held more weight than the spanking. So I think it's all about trying to figure out what is the carrot that's going to work for each child because everybody is different. And I think that is the key.
Now that part I 100% agree with. And I think because I'm the eldest. I got my ass whooped. Like I got my ass torn out the frame. It was actually kind of terrible to see how much my two youngers, my sister kind of got it too, but my two younger siblings, I was like, oh, y'all just don't believe in this anymore. But once again, they had me to basically say, don't do this, don't do that. You might want to, so, but I also think it is important for parents to realize you're actually making them fear the lash so you don't have to do it. That's really what it's supposed to lead up into. And then if you are spanking kids to the point where you realize you're doing it excessively because their behavior isn't getting better, you absolutely need to be going to alternative methods. Now, I do absolutely think it's bad parenting because I think I saw somebody say it in the chat. We might want to consider that because of the conditions in the Black community, a lot of these people are spanked, most notably moms, because they have custody, are spanking the kids out of pure anger. And then pure anger, and then if you have custody of a son, man, I got a 4-year-old boy jumping his ass up and down. When I listen to him, it's weird how he will listen to the sound of my voice, but be tap dancing on his mama head. So I can only imagine if I wasn't here, what she would think the natural punishment for him would be. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's why we might have such a negative, because I want to make this point. No matter, not too many, especially guys that came from 2-parent households now. Any man, I don't think I've seen too many of them say, I don't understand why my dad spanked me or whooped me or whatever we're calling it. And I know why it was necessary. Men don't have problems with their dad because of what he did. Literally turned me into who I am. It's usually when the dad is absent or an alcoholic or something, we get into the extreme examples of what.
Because as a child, they can tell if you're doing that out of spite, out of anger, if you actually doing that out of love. And that's why I say, like, what we got going on right now, because a lot of the ladies that we deal with, they are dealing with anger. And that's why we tell them when that happens, I know you want to snatch Isaiah, but have them come to us, bring them to us. And naturally, it's not that we try to do this, but I mean, as kids, everybody will answer this. If you had your father in the home, or even if you had any type of male influence, if you ask them while growing up, them kids know I can run my mom over. They get to about 11, 12, 13 years old. They about the same height. They know I can run mama over. Some of them, I only do it because I'm just doing a little bit out of respect for my mom. But for some other reason, just even men presence or hearing a man's voice, that right there has a natural thing in their mind and their subconscious to say that represents authority, the deep voice. Us coming in there, we don't sit there and try to compromise. We getting right to the point. We're strict, we're more assertive. And so they fear that. And when I say fear, people thinking like, oh, they shaking in their boots. No, we're not talking about like that. But it's the fact that naturally as kids, you can have a room full of kids. And if they're out of control and there's a woman in there, hey, guys, and for some reason, the man coming, why?
Eyes wide open.
You see what I'm saying?
I will say that all of the guys that I was saying was locked up for those offenses was single mother raised or ward of the state. So it wasn't like it was 2-parent households.
Yeah, and if you ever talk to any of them, they're like some of the ones that like, we get some that they've been out of jail for years and they're trying to get their life around. So they want to come in and rap to some of the kids that might be considered at risk. And they'll say exactly the same thing. Like they knew that their mom then was not doing that to them in a right way. They're like, my mom was just mad. She was teed off, with just her. And she would always talk about your daddy ain't this. And I felt that whenever she did this to me, she was literally beating me as if she wanted to do that to him. They feel it coming off of them versus them getting in trouble and then the mother saying, this is why you got in trouble and this is what's going to happen. And you need to understand that they don't do that. They just boom, 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 boom. They go in your room and sit down and shut the F up. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
But yeah, I also think we
Asians beat their kids, by the
way. At some point, this is another reason why I think we need to start early with having a bag full of, disciplinary measures or what have you, and talking to your kids as well. Because when you get to a certain point, even as a father and a son, it's going to get to a point where the child is no longer scared of being spanked. Mm-hmm. Right? Like my dad, he's 6'8". When I was born, 6'8". He's tall. It got to a point where I did not fear him at all. And so once I got to that point, that consequence didn't matter, right? It didn't matter at all. And I've seen too, where if you start early young with building a relationship with your children, parenting them, all of those kind of things, the spankings will come less frequently, right? Mm-hmm. But is a transition between fearing your father and respecting your father.
Now, Mistaken. I got a question for you real quick. I'm not gonna lie. Mistaken. Can I ask you something? Whenever you did get older, you knew spankings weren't gonna work no more. Was it something in the back of your head that had you feel like, oh my God, I know this is gonna make my dad mad though? Did you have like that type of sensation of, God, I know my dad gonna be mad over this or he gonna be upset over this? Did that bother you?
Being totally transparent, no. Me and my dad did not get along when I was younger.
And now you just answered my question. Yep. That's what I was getting ready to ask. That
let me say this.
Very toxic.
Let me say this though. Mm-hmm. It is absolutely fear. It just may not be fear in the way we think about it.